Hi, this is Manoli.
Hi, this is James.
A shout out to Nick and Mahali. We miss you very much.
Yeah, be great to catch up with you fellas and do a podcast. Where are they now, Nick and Mahali?
Yes, because there's a new film out in theaters, Toy Story 5.
Right, tell us all about it.
Well, the Toy Story 5 is out, not a fake film, not a fan made, but the real film. It's in theaters, and I'm looking forward to see it when it comes home. But there's also one thing very special I wanted to share, is that I'm not going to look at one side of the coin. I'm going to look at both sides of the coin. There was another show that was made around the time. It's called Action League Now.
Right. Tell us about Action League Now.
Action League Now was made around the same time after the success of the first Toy Story film. It had a lot of the people that made it were such a big fan of Toy Story. They took a lot of elements and visual from it, and there's a bit of mix, agrees and disagree, of course. So even though it's not a big issue, so how it looks like Toy Story, well, it is. You have a bunch of characters, they're toys, living in the same world. It's not in a fictional setting. It's not in... And the characters that you see, they're just toys.
Right.
A place that you could actually visit.
Right, and they both live in in both movies, the toys live in a child's bedroom. Right?
Yes. Well, in Action League, it is filmed in an actual kid's room.
Right. And tell me about the two different types of animation.
While Toy Story is known for its computer animation, Action League uses real toys taking place in real places, of course, using real movement and fake movement, which is stop motion. Now, my biggest issue with Toy Story is that when I was looking at one side of the coin, my biggest issue is that, well, here's how it goes, James. Too much focusing on the toy products, Fisher-Price, Mattel, Play School, and stuff. Well, just understand, James, that Toy Story wasn't the only one featuring real products. Action League now did the exact same thing. They used characters from a dollhouse known as Play School. So if you heard Mr. Potato Head saying, "Oh really, I'm from Play School," so does Action League. They use Play School. Action Sketch also appeared in Toy Story. And even also, Action League also had an Action Sketch as well, but used as a screen communicator when they go to space.
Right.
A lot of elements were borrowed from Toy Story. Like for starters, you have a toy that flies, which is Thunder Girl.
Right.
Again, that's a reference to Buzz Lightyear, where he cannot fly.
Yep.
I didn't disagree or agree. I knew exactly what the producer were doing. Number two, the characters from Action League know that they're toys. And of course they were, just like Toy Story. And they kind of add a bit of delusional effect, something again, Buzz Lightyear, of course.
Mm-hmm.
They even also had a real dog and a fake dog, like Slinky.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they have a toy dog named Justice.
Right. Explain the different characters in Action League.
The characters became so good as the characters that we all know from Toy Story. You have the Flash, he's super strong and super naked. Super naked, is a reference to undressing dolls, of course.
Uh-huh.
Private Partless. Thunder Girl, she flies like thunder. Stinky Diver, a former negative commander, is as bad as his odor as he lives in the toilet. And Meltman with the power to melt. And when I first saw the characters, for example, the Flash, I thought the Flash was based on He-Man, of course.
Right.
Until then I realized he wasn't based on He-Man, he was based on a toy known as Conan the Adventurer. I have the toy, and Conan, there was an animated series called Conan the Adventurer, which had toys of him, and the Conan the Adventurer toy became the basis for the Flash. Now, the developers that made Conan the Adventurer wanted for it to be like He-Man, but to avoid copyright, his hair had to be black.
Right.
And when the developers picked up Conan the Adventurer, they said, "Yep, this is our super strong and super naked. So they made the character blonde to look like He-Man, but without clothes.
And you have a Conan the Adventurer.
Yes, not because I grew up with the anime, but because of the flesh.
What did you buy it online?
Yes.
You should bring it along one day and we'll see if we can do some... What's the form of animation? What do they describe the style of animation?
Real movement and stop motion.
But they have a special name for it.
Chucky animation.
Yeah. Well, bring along your Conan and let's do some Chucky animation.
But the thing is, but the truth is, I wanted to make it clear about these toys is that, look, the characters were not done out of obligation, they were done in passion. The flesh was kind of like Buzz Lightyear, you know, Buzz, he had buttons and stuff. The flesh had nothing, he's just super naked.
Right.
And Thunder Girl's flying reference, again, I said it before, was trying to reference and make fun of Buzz who couldn't fly.
Right.
And the team had to be creative with all the stuff, and they wanted to try and get, you know, really impressed with the show, of course. Now, there are some big problems there are issues that I dealt with, and here's more. Another scene with Toy Story is when Buzz is trying to build the cardboard spaceship, Woody interrupts Buzz. He doesn't fix his cardboard ship anymore. If Woody didn't interrupt Buzz, he would have continued fixing the cardboard spaceship and then go inside and say, farewell, friends, and then just stand there and do nothing. Well, that was pulled to Action League now, where Thunder Girl, Flash, Stinky Diver, and Melman went to space.
Right.
And in the spaceship, an ancient sketch made appearance used as a screen monitor to talk to the Chief.
Cool. Who's the Chief?
The Chief is the Black American action figure based on the Play School's Dollhouse, of course. And that's another thing that I will get, because first I looked at Conan the Adventurer on YouTube and I read the comments, and many people who saw it said, oh my goodness, it's the Flash. Well, some who know nothing about Action League said looks nothing like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I don't know who Arnold Schwarzenegger is, and it's like, it has nothing to do with him. And when it tells me that they haven't seen the show, the reason why I want it, because it was the Flash.
Yeah.
That's it.
Right. Cool.
Not everything has to be in perfection. Not everything has to be the same.
No.
And the thing is, and the most important thing is that the toys, now there is some bit of issue with Pixar, because, now here's the opinion, of course. When it comes to, now, there are people that will like Toy Story, and there's some people that won't like Toy Story. But when it comes to someone liking Toy Story, they might as well like the Action League now. But when it tells me they only like Toy Story, that's not an opinion. That's just them looking at one side of the coin.
Right.
See the understanding?
Yeah, well, I think that that everyone likes different things.
I get that, but when it comes to Toy Story, don't you want to look at the other side of the coin and acknowledge there's another show that's just like Toy Story? Yeah.
You would want to give it a shot, yeah.
I gave it a shot, I loved it, and that's why it works. Now, of course, I didn't... Now, the thing is, but there are issues I have dealt with, of course. Then I looked at Stinky Diver based on the G.I. Joe Shipwrecked. Many people reviewed it, and some people commented that Stinky Diver. I have that toy.
Really? You have that one as well?
Shipwreck, known as Stinky Diver. He looks just like how you remember from the show.
And did you buy that online also? Wow. Bring it along. Bring along your figurines, and we'll do something with them.
In the time I saw the Play School Dollhouse, I saw the commercial. I wanted to look at the comments if anyone is quoting about that the Play School Dollhouse would be the basis, but there was nothing. Now, to make it clear, there is no such thing as the I hate children thing. That's not why I looked at the comments for.
Okay.
I wanted to look at the comments so I can actually find out if anyone is quoting that, but they didn't. The only thing I remember reading the comments is, hey, I grew up with these toys that's still in my basement. Well, the other agreed. Now, look, I get it. There are horrible people that will read it and say some stuff like, what are you, babies? You're adults now. You're not kids anymore. Grow up. I understand that, but what I could have done in the comments is I could say, hey, guys, sorry to interrupt you and leave a reply, but do you know anything about Action League now? And then wait for a reply. That's fine. But the truth is, this whole I grew up with this would not fly with me. Because when I look at Action League now, the characters in the show never talk down to me. They always actually felt like something very special about the show. And other things is a lot of stuff was borrowed from Action League to Toy Story 2. Like, where do you think they got the inspiration of where Buzz and the gang drive the Pizza Planet car from? They got it from a scene, Road to Ruin, where the mayor, who is a toy, is driving a real car.
That's pretty cool. So the Toy Story team were drawing some inspiration from Action League as well.
Yeah, that's right.
And Action League were drawing some inspiration from Toy Story.
Well, the developers became a fan of Toy Story. They wanted to make a show that was so good and was pitched with Nickelodeon and Kablam, and they said, yes, we want that. And the pilot started from 1995, around when the movie was out. Well, maybe when they started making the show, it started a little bit different, but by the time Toy Story came out, they kind of said, oh, let's continue and take more, make it good as Toy Story. That's where they took the direction from. And the part of the...
How many episodes?
12.
One series, 12 episodes.
And the thing about the part of them shooting them in real places, they didn't took ideas from Thomas the Tank Engine, the season 1 to 4. While the developers acknowledged Thomas and Friends, they didn't look at the model set and say, yeah, let's take that from Thomas. They didn't do that. They took it from their organic ideas, of course.
Excellent.
Get that?
Yeah.
Because they didn't actually got anyone from Thomas to do the show. They didn't got anyone from Jim Henson Creature Workshop, and I'm glad they didn't, because this whole using toys shot in real places was from their own idea. And another thing is, it didn't predate Robot Chicken, of course.
No.
But you probably know Robot Chicken, they did use toys, but it took place in their own set, in their own world, of course.
Right.
Action League, it looked nothing like Action League. It looked...
What came first, Robot Chicken or Action League?
Action League, of course, but it didn't predate Robot Chicken and looks nothing like it. Action League was more like Toy Story, and that's the direction, and that was a huge success.
Yeah. Now that you mention it, not that I'm an expert on Robot Chicken, but
No.
I can see the similarities between the two.
No, of course you're not an expert or professional, but I don't see any of this stuff because it was... The thing is, it's important to acknowledge the difference, of course. They were filmed in real locations. Toys interacting with real big things, of course. That was incredible.
Okay. All right.
But what I'm trying to... But there are issues I'm dealing is that Pixar wants to shine their light at our faces and don't want us to see Action League now anymore, which is sad.
How have they done that?
Well, there's a bit of an issue and some kind of lawsuit. I don't know what's going on behind closed doors, but I also find out some proof. If Pixar doesn't want to know about that there's a show that exists with toys, see the thing. If you look inside the office in Pixar, there's so many toys. What if they had a toy of Conan the Adventurer? What if they had a toy of Stinky Diver, which is G.I. Joe Shipwrecked?
Wow. It feels like you're heading off into a very important area. I'm wondering whether...
I found some bit of proof, of course. And also, you won't believe what and this is a message towards the audience. You won't believe what me and James found inside the Nickelodeon Animation Studio. Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah, that's right.
And you know how I saw it? And that includes you, James? I saw it from one of the people that were working from Nickelodeon was filming, capturing memories from a video cam, uploading YouTube years later, and I was like, Buzz Lightyear? So for example, it's like Nickelodeon has a Buzz Lightyear toy in the animation studio, and then in Pixar, you got a bunch of toys, and some of them are Nickelodeon, and that is Powder Toastman from Ren and Stimpy. And then you might as well have Conan the Adventurer, G.I. Joe Shipwreck, the bases for
Wow.
Action League now, and it's kind of weird. And then all of a sudden you want us to bang on about and say that that Action League is not computer animation. Who cares?
Yeah,
While I agree, now don't get me wrong, games, while I agree that Action League now is not computer animation, I agree. But when it comes to them that should be computer animation, I disagree.
Uh-huh.
Don't get me wrong, they don't have to be the same, but the visuals from Toy Story is borrowed for action.
I think there's a lot of crossover, a lot of inspiration that... Have you heard the expression that there's no such thing as an original idea?
That's right, and that's exactly what I said when it came to, for them doing live stuff. The developers who acknowledged Thomas, they didn't took the idea from Thomas.
No, but it's inspiration and
But this whole concept of being shot was actually from their own ideas, of course.
Right.
I know that. Thomas may be great using real shots, and that's fine, but this was done on a low budget.
Yeah. Well, look, I've only seen one episode of Action League now, and I've got to say that I did enjoy it a lot. It's very unique. I particularly like the idea that it doesn't have to be perfect.
But it does have a lot of Toy Story elements from it, and even the visual, but non-computer animation.
Yeah. There's definitely, you can definitely see influences and inspiration, and yeah, it's cool.
And here's another bizarre thing. Since I spot a Buzz Lightyear and Nickelodeon animation studio, you won't believe what I saw outside the animation studio.
What?
A bunch of Nickelodeon and Nicktoon characters. Crumb. This from Aria Monsters, and who's on the wall? The Flesh.
Wow.
So it feels like Pixar's like.
Now, tell me, how did you see that?
I saw from Google Maps, and Pixar acts like they want to bang on about it, that it's copyright and this, but somehow behind closed doors, the two studios have stuff.
Oh, is this on the outside of their building or something?
Yes, and then there's parts inside of the building, and it's like, what are you doing?
Oh, yeah.
Stop trying to make us look at one side of the coin. Just appreciate that someone is inspired, okay?
Now, it feels like we're starting to enter into new territory. Do you want to save that new territory for your next podcast?
Yeah, but before I wanted to finish, I just want to say about the graphics of Toy Story. Now, when I saw Toy Story 5 and 4 and 3, the graphics become better, and now as an adult, I understand what they're trying to go through. They're going through this Action League Now vibe.
Right.
They're not trying to... While the computer is wonderful and realistic, but they were trying to... But when I saw it, I understood what direction they were going through. They're going through the Action League Now vibe.
Great. Well, it sounds like Action League Now has had a great influence on the new Toy Story.
That's right, and the Action League might predict the future that maybe there will be a good Toy Story franchise. But look, when I first saw Action League back then, I didn't know it was from Nickelodeon. I thought it was from Disney.
Really?
And in real life, the show can be aired on Disney and any channel without being copyrighted, but with permission.
Yeah, cool.
But nowadays, yeah, I understand it's Nickelodeon, but I didn't care. I just only watch Action League and acknowledge how many elements they took from Toy Story.
Great. Well, that sounds like a good parting message. Like, we acknowledge that Action League took a lot of inspiration from Toy Story, and we've also seen Toy Story take inspiration from Action League.
And if Pixar is going to ditch Action League and pretend that the show doesn't exist, then how does this explain that you have a scene where the toys are driving a car in the sequel? Where exactly did you took that from? Yeah, you took it from Action League.
Do you know what? I think it sounds like something that the lawyers come up with, not the creators.
I that's what I'm trying to explain. But the thing is, I don't care if the show doesn't have to be perfect. But I'm not saying it reminds you of Toy Story. It looks like Toy Story. It has everything.
Yeah.
But before all that, my mind, I was cross, upset, walking into Big W, getting mad. Before I was like, how long do I have to walk on this earth and be put up with Fisher Price, Mattel, Hasbro? But after, when I saw Action League, everything all went out of the window.
Great. Excellent. So thanks, Action League, for helping reduce your stress and anger at Hasbro.
And you know one thing they should have also, what the Pixar people should have done since number 5 is out?
No.
They should also have an interview. They should... The people from Pixar and the people from that made Action League Now, they should have their own podcast. Maybe discuss about what they did. Maybe actually have us honor them and stuff.
Cool. Great. That sounds like a good idea.
That's how it is. So like I said before, I seen a lot of stuff behind closed doors from Nickelodeon Animation Studio and Pixar. They had stuff from Nickelodeon, like Powder Toastman, and maybe some characters for the basis of Action League, like Conan and the G.I. Joe for Action League now. And then you also have Buzz Lightyear.
Amazing.
And also the Flash is on the wall.
Yeah.
With the other Nickelodeon.
Right. Well, I think that's a pretty good way to wrap up this episode of your podcast. Do you want to send a message out to anybody before we sign off?
Yes, and my message is to those who comment on YouTube, listen, if you enjoy sharing your childhood about the Play School Dollhouse, that's fine, because that stuff is not going to fly with me, of course, because that's not the road I'm taking, of course.
All right. That's excellent. Shout outs to anyone?
Thank you.